Thanks for joining us. I'm Beverly Thompson. The holiday season is upon us, but not all traditions will be carrying into Christmas 2018. You may have heard that some radio stations in the U.S. and in Canada decided not to play Baby It's Cold Outside. Others, though, have now chosen to bring the song back into their lineup. In its original version, it was criticized for its lyrics in the lens of the Me Too movement, and its online, in particular, one line in particular that's been garnering a lot of attention. For more on this, we go behind the headlines, and we're going to do that just as soon as we hear a little snippet of it.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like stars
to
right now.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell.
And I think part of that you'll hear, as we've all heard the song before, is, you know, hey, what's in this drink and whatnot. So joining me in this studio is social media personality Stuart Reynolds. We also have film critic and Pop Life host Richard Krause and parent blogger Samantha Kemp-Jackson joining us from our downtown studio. Thank you all. So let me begin with you, Stuart. Let me get your reaction to it being pulled, the reaction, but then, you know, now a lot of people saying, oh no, put it back on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where there's three camps, I think, for this song. There's the camp of people who say, I find this song offensive. Okay, fair enough, you're allowed to find something offensive. There's the camp of people who say, it's not offensive, it was a different time. And then the problem I have is the people who say, it might be offensive, but I don't care.
Oh, dear.
That's the one that I have an issue with. But apart from that, I mean, it's a totally different era for that song. The song now seems creepy. But it's not a creepy song. Like, the song's not creepy, but I can't sing it without sounding creepy.
Well, no, in this day and age. But Richard, I mean, for a lot of people, I guess it's been around for so long. It's interesting that at this time, and in the wake of Me Too, that it's just getting all the scrutiny.
Well, there's a fourth camp I would add to Stuart's examination of that says that it's not a Christmas song anyway, because it doesn't mention Christmas in there anyway. But neither does Let It Snow or Jingle Bells. So
Right.
That's my answer to them. Yeah, you know, songs like this now that have been around for a very long time have been coming under scrutiny. I mean, there was kind of a big to-do about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer earlier this month. It aired on television, and all of a sudden, for the first time that I was aware of anyway, maybe it's happened in years past, people were talking about it being a story of bullying. People were talking about it being inappropriate for small kids to watch and that kind of thing. And for the generation or two that have grown up watching that, I think a lot of those criticisms came as a bit of a surprise, which is why I think that people were a little surprised with the backlash against Baby It's Cold Outside. People have talked about the lyrics for years about this song. It's not a particularly new story, but radio stations banning it outright became the story because of the kind of sexual innuendo nature of the lyrics. Although, if you go online, and I did, there's lots of research out there talking about what the lyrics actually mean and contextualizing them in you know, the decade in which they were written. Is that enough for some people? I don't think so.
Yeah, Sam, what do you think?
You know, it's funny because I've always loved this song. I really, really enjoyed it. It's a Christmas holiday kind of memory that I have singing this song. And I never really thought about it until this whole thing came up with Me Too last year. And then people started looking at lyrics. And now that I look at the lyrics, I do have to confess that they are a bit creepy. They're kind of, you know, they're a man kind of trying to convince a woman to do something that she's obviously not sure of. And, you know, it's pushing it a little bit further. And I must say, I put this out on social media, this whole thing about Baby It's Cold Outside, and there were some very inflamed and upset people on my wall, which is not something I wanted to do, but it obviously really polarizes people. And I say, you know, if something's going to really upset someone or hurt people, then I think we better err on the side of caution and take it down. I'm sorry to say. Listen to it on your own time.
Or you can listen to a new version, and I wanted to play a bit of this, and actually, Richard, you were the one who pointed this out to me. I know there's been a number, but I think his name is Penn Holderness, but he decided to kind of rewrite the song, re-perform the song, to make it appropriate to today's more political correctness. Here's a snippet of that.
I simply must go.
Uber is right outside.
The answer is no.
Seriously, right outside.
The welcome has been
I'll walk you to
so
the curb,
nice and warm.
but totally consensual.
There's bound to be
You like?
We're going to be hearing more and more of these, I think.
I think so.
I
over
heard
the
there was
next
a
coming
much
weeks and
better
next
version
year.
that came out 5 days before that one.
Yeah, and I heard that rumor too.
Yeah,
5 days
yeah.
before.
You have to check some
And what was
accounts
his? Was his name?
It's a Brittle Star, I think. It was Brittle,
Okay.
You search for Brittle Star on
Okay,
YouTube.
yeah. Actually, I did, and it's a very good version. I really actually
Too late,
liked
Bev.
it.
It's too late.
Okay, so moving on to other news, Google CEO yesterday being grilled by American politicians about Google privacy complaints, all of that kind of thing, and also about a political bias. And of course, the CEO saying absolutely not. It's it's a computer. It doesn't have a political bias. Do you believe it, Stuart?
I believe there is no political bias. I think that there's so many people looking to game Google and have been for decades now that if there was a way to game it, they would have gamed it and it would have been more evident. I think Google's too big of a machine to really care about any specific party moving forward. They can kind of do what they want. So yeah, I believe that when they say it doesn't have any political bias, I believe that.
And you don't think there's any algorithm? I don't know. Richard, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think that absolutely there's an algorithm, but the algorithm studies the data that's put in it. It is just cold, hard data. And I think instead of having or suggesting that it has a political bias, what I think it has is a beautiful snapshot at what people are actually thinking. I think that if, and this is one of the things that they brought up yesterday, when you punch in Donald Trump, why does one of the first things that come up say Donald Trump idiot or Donald Trump dumb? And it's because there are an enormous amount of words written in articles, in blogs, and all that sort of thing that would characterize him as being that. Whether you agree or not agree, that is sort of the fact. That's one of the things that happens. And the algorithm just simply scans all that and gives you the most popular version of that in your search. And I don't think it's biased. I just think that it's a great snapshot, and people should be using the information there to figure out how to address those problems. Why do people think Donald Trump's dumb? That's what what his people should be looking at right now, because this is a polling that is almost unprecedented in the history of the world. There's more people using Google every day than have been using the polls, or have been contacted by polls probably in the last decade.
Yeah, and that's kind of inherently in the room is just how powerful, Sam, Google is and can be.
Yeah, Google is huge, and they don't have to try to sway their findings anyway. As Richard and Stuart said, it is about the algorithm, and it is about the fact that people are searching particular terms, as Richard said in relation to Donald Trump, for example, and certain words come up. So again, it's a larger question. Why are these words coming up? Why are these the trends that Google is showcasing on the searches? And I think that's the issue, not really about Google trying to game the system, as it were.
Algorithms aren't Republicans or Democrats.
Okay, fair enough. I want to get your take on what you will and will not buy out of a vending machine, because brand new in Toronto is a pizza vending machine. So you put in your choices. I guess there's 4 or 5 choices now, more to come later, and then out pops this piece of pizza. I don't know, Stuart, would you eat it? Would you do it?
If you ask me right now, this sort of mid-afternoon, I think it's a terrible idea. If you ask me at about 1:45 a.m. on the weekend, it might be the best idea in the world.
But so you put your money in, and it says, here it comes, you're going to get it, and do you wonder about how safe it would be?
I don't at all. I mean, we've been eating out of vending machines for a very long time. The idea that this assembles the food kind of in front of you is, I think, pretty cool. I would absolutely use it at least once. You have to try it before you can say you will never do it again. I would try it at least once and then move on from there.
Sam?
Everything is automated these days, so why not pizza? And, at the end of the day, I don't see why this would be any more unsafe than having someone assemble it by hand. So I'd absolutely try it. And as Stuart said, 3 in the morning after a few drinks, it probably would be a good idea.
Yeah, and the robot never has to, you never have to wonder whether the robot's washed his hands or not.
Right, he's not judging you either, no judgment.
That's the thing.
Good call, Stuart, Richard, Sam, thanks to all of you for joining us and going behind the headlines. Appreciate it.